Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Artur. Yeah, it's really a great pleasure, as always, to be here and welcome all of you, well, from so many countries, from so many different places, coming here to learn more about monitoring, observability, Zabbix, to share your experience. I think this is the best place now in the world to learn more about Zabbix and to hear about the latest news from the Zabbix team. So what we do and how we define our mission, we help businesses deliver flawless services for better world and happier people. Yeah, and of course it's not like long time ago when I started my work on Zabbix. I've got this mission in my head. Yeah, but now we clearly see that actually the main idea why there are some monitoring tools, observability tools, is really to make sure that the services we have in our companies, smaller businesses, bigger businesses, applications, networks, I don't know, some cloud services we provide to end users or to internal users in our companies, they're up and running. And that's why we have monitoring tools. Monitoring tool is a good friend which does some work on your behalf. Yeah, just checking constantly that everything is good, or it's trying to kind of predict problems that may happen in the future. In reality, and actually, we want to be kind of 100% focused. If you're very much into monitoring space, we really want to be 100% focused on doing some things and work related to monitoring, and don't want to be disturbed with something else. But in reality, of course, if you're running Zabbix, well, you have to deal with many things. Yeah, you have to deal with applying, I don't know, security patches, with doing, I don't know, as your data grows, you have to deal maybe sometimes with this performance tuning of the database. You have to think about the capacity planning, upgrades, and so on. And I'm saying this because we just launched Zabbix Cloud, yeah, our new product. Yeah, so thank you. And what is Zabbix Cloud? Just very briefly. So Zabbix Cloud is enterprise SaaS platform where you may very quickly deploy your Zabbix instances. Okay, you need Zabbix. Okay, you go to Zabbix Cloud, few clicks, and you have Zabbix up and running in the cloud, which is really, really nice. And yeah, Zabbix Cloud is available in 7 tiers, depending what kind of performance you need right now. So you may start maybe with some lower tier and then upgrade as time goes. And at this moment, it's available in 5 regions. So all major regions are covered. So North America, Latin America, Europe, and Asia. And I believe that as time goes, Zabbix Cloud would be extended to have more regions. So, but all right. So what are the tiers? The tier is basically, well, a Zabbix instance with certain types, from nano, micro instances, then goes to middle, and some large instances. And the only differentiator between those instances is the level of performance you need. Yeah, so it all depends on performance. And designing Zabbix Cloud, we really wanted to implement a general purpose product which will not be necessarily focused on I don't know, for smaller customers or SMB market segment, or for example for enterprise customers. Not at all. I think we made a product which is suitable for customers, for users of any size. So if you are, for example, maybe a very small user, and you have your, I don't know, home monitored with some proxy. This is actually the Raspberry Pi, which is running Home Assistant. It's also running Zabbix Proxy, and it's installed in my home. I bring it today just to demonstrate how it looks like. Yeah. So you may connect this type of device with Zabbix Cloud, and you are set. Yeah. So and you are set. So Zabbix Proxy would collect data from a local environment. We'll send it to the cloud, and you have all the capabilities of Zabbix in the cloud. wanted Zabbix Cloud to be affordable and pricing that makes sense to our users. That's why it's only about the differentiator between the different nodes, like nano node or mid-sized node or larger node, is the performance you expect from your node. And there are no extra charges, no extra fees for number of items or number of triggers or number of users. It's really up to you. You decide how many items you want to have. You decide how many users you want to allow to use your Zabbix Cloud instance. It's really up to you. There is no extra charge. Yeah. So basically, what you're paying for performance. This is one part, and the another part is the storage. So the price is a combination of the performance you need and storage you need. And obviously, we realize that many users may have a different use cases and different requirements. Sometimes we may want to have high-frequency monitoring, but we don't want to keep data for longer time. Yeah, we just want to have a very high-performance Zabbix instance, and maybe just 10 gigabyte of storage. And the good thing about Zabbix Cloud, the 10 gigabyte of storage. The first 10 gigabytes, it comes for free. It's included into the price, yeah? And the extra would cost 30 cents per gigabyte. So we really give a freedom. So you may decide, okay, what do you need? You may find a very good balance specifically for your use case. Balance between performance, what kind of performance you need, and how big amount of storage is needed for your instance. Because you may have very small instance, collecting data maybe rarely, but you'd like to keep data for 10 years, yeah, or vice versa. So, and now, yeah, we actually provided users with another choice. Obviously, you may run Zabbix on-prem, on your favorite Linux distribution, or in a container, or deploy it on some platforms like Red Hat, OpenShift, or you may deploy Zabbix in public clouds. Well, it's already supported, already available. You may go to AWS Marketplace or Microsoft Azure Marketplace, GCP Marketplace, and with just a few clicks, you have Zabbix up and running. But also, well, now you may go to Zabbix Cloud, and just you register yourself, and after a couple of minutes, you have your first instance up and running. And you may ask, but okay, I may run Zabbix instance in public cloud. What's the difference with Zabbix Cloud? And the difference is very simple. It's more like a managed Zabbix instance. It's a Zabbix software, exactly the same software. We haven't created a new piece of software. It's a Zabbix, same Zabbix we all love, but it's in the cloud, yeah? And we do some work for you. So we take care of upgrades. We make sure that you're running the very latest version of Zabbix. We also obviously take care of the availability. We take care of performance tuning. We take care about making sure that Zabbix is configured to deliver the best possible performance. And there are some backup options included as well. Some regular backups, or you may have some ad hoc backups if you want. Yeah, so this is really, really cool. It's kind of Zabbix, trouble-free Zabbix for very, very reasonable price. And I believe that Zabbix Cloud is a perfect product right now to use for hybrid, for hybrid monitoring. So for example, you may have part of your infrastructure on-prem, part of infrastructure, for example, in some public cloud, in AWS, and you may have your private data center, for example, or you may have multiple locations spread across the city or across the country, or kind of multinational distributed setup. And in this case, right, the very common architecture would be you have Zabbix server running in the cloud and proxies at maybe one proxy or a cluster of proxies per each of your locations. So that is really, really nice. I also think that it's really great solution for MSP MSPs. So if you want to provide, for example, some added value monitoring services for your customers, you also may take advantage of a Zabbix Cloud. So you can very easily deploy new Zabbix instances, and as you have a new customer, for example, for your company, you just deploy one instance per one customer if you want, yeah? And basically you may charge your customers for additional services. Or another way of using Zabbix Cloud is really to, and if you provide some services, kind of IT services to your customers, is just make sure that the services you provide, they deliver the SLA, yeah? The SLA you have an agreement. So Zabbix may help you to verify that SLA is there. So, and how to start? Well, it's very easy. You just go to zabbix.com/cloud. You register yourself. Well, obvious information. We are not asking for so much information, just probably email, maybe your name, and password, and actually that's it, yeah? So, and then you have a free trial node. You may see how it works, and if this product is suitable for you, then feel free and use it. Well, I think actually this year we released two big things. One is Zabbix 7, around 3 or 4 months ago, and it came with actually the huge number of different improvements. And many of those improvements contribute very much for the kind of cloud usage of Zabbix. So I would like to go quickly, maybe not through all, but some of the major features we have implemented in 7.0. And by the way, how many of you running 7.0 now in production? Okay, 6 something, 6.0, 6.2. Maybe, I don't know, 60% 7, 40% 6, yeah, so maybe it's time to consider upgrading to 7, yeah. And 5, version 5. Yeah, we have some. Version 4. 3. I'm surprised. Okay, version 2, maybe. Version 2, Zabbix 1.8, for example, 1.8. Okay, I see. Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah. But I see that anyway. It's kind of not really exponential, but at the beginning it was like exponential distribution. Yeah, but then it goes like this. Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. Yeah, but if it runs, why upgrade? Yeah. So this, I totally with you. All right, so 7.0 LTS, really, it comes with so many new features and improvements, more than 110 new features and improvements, and I really think that comparing to Zabbix 6.0, it really feels like a different product. It really feels like a much better product. One thing I would like to point out that in Zabbix, when we released Zabbix 7.0, we have changed the license. Yeah, I don't know how many of you noticed that now Zabbix, maybe one, maybe more. But we have changed the license to AGPL v3. Yeah, so it used to be Zabbix. It used to be like for almost 20 years, more than 20 years, GPL v2 licensed software, and GPL v2 is the license which is used by Linux, for example, a very famous open source product, is the major one, I think. Yeah, but now we have changed license to AGPL v3, and I'm not big fan of, believe me, I'm not big fan of changing licenses. I really want to have very kind of stable and stability in the licensing. Yeah. But the only reason why we have changed the licensing is really to be maybe better protected from maybe larger players on the market, namely public clouds. Yeah, we really wanted to be better protect ourselves, our interest our company, and interest of our partners and our users. But from end user perspective, if you ask me, does it make any difference for end user or for partners or for customers? No, it doesn't. Yeah? The only difference between AGPL and GPL is that AGPL defines the term use a little bit different. So in GPL, use means you create a physical copy of the software, yeah, and you share it, the physical copy. But in AGPL, use means also use of the software over the network. So for example, if someone would take Zabbix, created some extension, build some, I don't know, for example, some SaaS service, and would provide it to the customers, it basically means that those extensions needs to be also licensed under AGPL. Yeah, so AGPL kind of forces to have those extensions be open sourced. Anyway, Zabbix, and you saw it before, yeah? I'm demonstrating this slide quite often. Zabbix is implementing very simple, but I guess very, very powerful pattern. This data collection, analysis, reaction, and visualization, yeah? And that's what we are constantly improving. We're improving all parts of this equation. We're improving data collection by introducing new methods how to collect data. We're improving the way how problems can be detected, how we can detect anomalies and so on, and reaction and visualization. So there are so many improvements on all parts of the data flow. And again, this pattern is super, super powerful, I think. And of course, because of this, Zabbix is able to monitor actually everything, the whole stack of IT, OT infrastructure, starting from hardware layer, IoT devices, network devices, up to very sophisticated things like a business level monitoring or services or a cloud. In 7.0, we have invested a lot into making sure that Zabbix delivers the best visualization capabilities. And it's not only a visible part, yeah? It's not only what you see being improved, yeah? We have introduced obviously some new widgets and so on, but also we made, we introduced a very well-documented and a clear framework for independent developers. So if you want, you may extend Zabbix visualization capabilities by implementing your own widgets. This is the one thing. And another thing, we also improved the framework, kind of the widget and dashboard framework, so that now widgets can communicate between each other. We call it, it's really needed in order to create much better dynamic dashboards with some drill down capabilities. So it really helps to bring a visualization to absolutely new level. So if you have a look what's been implemented, yeah, so the core widgets, they've got a significant update like pie, donut widgets, introduced gauge widget, item history widget. Reporting, now it's possible to use Zabbix for capacity reports. Then you may tell, okay, what is my average, I don't know, disk CPU utilization or something for January, then for February, for March, so we can see clearly what is the trend for resource utilization. Also, we have introduced widget navigators. What is widget navigator? The widget navigator is the widget that can control other widgets, what is displayed on other widgets. So for example, you have a list of hosts, you click on a host, and then another widget would display a list of metrics of this specific host. Then you click on an item, and then you see the graph of this specific item. It's all happening on the same dashboard. You don't need to create one dashboard per each item or per each graph. Yeah? Really, really powerful. And now we are working on a more advanced and sophisticated visualization. And we already implemented the honeycomb widget. I will show you how it works. And more advanced visualization is coming in the future. Yeah, so you can see, this is how navigation, this is a honeycomb widget, yeah? For example, this is a cluster of your hosts or network devices. Different colors shows a different utilization, maybe memory or CPU utilization, disk utilization. It's really up to you to define. It's super flexible. And then you click on a cell of the widget, and actually those 4 widgets are controlled by this one, okay? So you select basically a host. The information about this host is passed to those widgets, and this widget gets refreshed with the information from this specific, with selected host. Yeah? This is very simple navigation, just one level navigation, but you may have multiple level navigation in a single dashboard. So very, very powerful. And it really helps us to create maybe more simple UI for your end users, because quite often we don't want to give all power of the dashboarding capabilities to end users. In this case, we just create some custom widgets, navigatable widgets to end users, and tell them, hey, this is exactly the information what you need. Another huge improvement is synthetic web monitoring. So what does it mean? It's basically end user monitoring. It basically means that Zabbix can now act as a browser. All right? You may think that, okay, there's a browser inside of Zabbix, and you can give some commands. You may ask this browser to go to a website to execute some scenario. Okay, it goes to the website, it logins, it does some operations, it's I don't know, executing some reports, whatever, logouts, and then for each of the steps, Zabbix would calculate, well, it would check availability of those pages, obviously, response codes, the content, so we may verify if the content is valid or not, well, basically everything, what is available to a browser. So now we're able to monitor our web applications from end user perspective, which is super, super important. Yeah, we really want to detect problems before our users. Yeah, that's why end user web monitoring is so important. And what is interesting here is that we may capture a screenshot. So, for example, if your scenario fails somewhere, for example, the content doesn't match what you're expecting, you can see, okay, this is one check, another check, so you can click on a screenshot and you may see exactly why a web monitoring failed. Maybe you had some problems with the content, or maybe some timeouts, whatever. So speaking about the single pane of glass experience, and we really want to deliver to user this extreme level of transparency when it comes to this kind of monitoring environment. You monitor something, you monitor your environment, and we really want to show the information in an extremely user-friendly way. And what we would like to do, of course, and this is a part of the future roadmap related to data processing, to visualization. We want to extend Zabbix so it would be able to collect the streaming data and all sorts of streaming data, and tracing data, events, open telemetry data, which allows us to jump into APM space and much more. But it's not only about collection of this complex structured data. It's not enough. Yeah, we need to understand what to do with this data. Yeah, how to combine it with the triggers we have. And also we need to understand how to make a great visualization of the data. Yeah, so this is another challenge for us as a Zabbix developers. Another extremely nice improvement, and we've been waiting for this functionality for many years. And it's a proxy load balancing. Yeah, proxy load balancing. It really took us some time to figure out how to implement it in the best possible way. Finally, we found a good architectural solutions, and we implemented it. And this is how it works. So very, very quickly. So for example, you have a Zabbix server, yeah, or Zabbix Cloud server, it doesn't matter. You have your, say, data center here, and you want to monitor all hosts of your data center or your on-prem setup, for example, or cloud setup. And you have maybe thousands, maybe many devices and services here. And obviously, and right now, what you can do, you may create a group of proxies, like in this case, okay, just 4 proxies, and you tell group of proxies, please monitor my environment, okay, this environment. And Zabbix would automatically distribute the host between the different proxies, kind of evenly distribute them, yeah, to make load balancing. So one part of the environment would be monitored by proxy 1, this one, and another part will be monitored by proxy 2, by proxy 3, and proxy 4. And it's all done automatically. We don't need to manually map, okay, this proxy monitors this host, and that proxy monitors this host. It's all done just magically, yeah? So, and then what happens if proxy is not working? Obviously, yeah, very simple thing. In this case, Zabbix discovers, all right, proxy is down, so it's not able to monitor this set of hosts or network devices or applications, and Zabbix will basically redistribute those the proxies which we cannot monitor right now among other proxies, among remaining proxies. So really nice. So basically, what we get high availability of proxies out of the box. Now you may have, well, for example, 2 proxies in a high availability setup or 3 proxies in a high availability setup. But even more, we also have a load balancing for proxies, which is really powerful feature. Yeah, and of course, it allows us auto-scaling of proxies. For example, in Kubernetes environment, or if we have AWS auto-scaling group, so we may configure it so that it will launch more proxies if performance of proxies of the group of the proxies is not sufficient. Yeah, so they could be, you can make some automation and launch more proxies if all proxies are going out of their capacity. The next thing, quality and security. You saw it before. This diagram. I'd like to demonstrate it just to show you that with every new release of Zabbix, we are implementing more and more security-related features built into Zabbix. And this moment, there are so many things on all levels of Zabbix. UI, Zabbix server, the transport layer, API, Zabbix proxy, Zabbix agent, so many security-related enhancements and functionality to make sure that Zabbix is compliant to the strictest security standards. And Zabbix 7 is not an exception, and in Zabbix 7 we have introduced support of the enterprise-grade MFA. Yeah, it just comes out of the box. It just comes out of the box. I'm very happy about it. Let's talk about scalability and performance. So it also plays a very important role. And again, we also invested quite a lot to making sure that the architecture, the Zabbix internal architecture, is not that it's very well visible to end users, but when you jump from older version of Zabbix to a new version of Zabbix, you'll immediately notice performance improvements. One is our transition to asynchronous data collection. So it basically means that in older versions of Zabbix, like 1.8 or 2.0 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, if you want to have a parallel data collection, we launch more pollers. Yeah, you all know parameter start pollers, and the more pollers we have, the better parallel data collection we will get. Yeah. So because one poller can also handle one connection to remote devices. So yeah, but not anymore. Starting from 7.0, one poller or other processes, they're able to handle thousands of connections. And it basically means that we get the same or better level of performance with less resources, less memory resources. Actually, the more pollers we have, it basically means more database connections we should have. Yeah. And the database connections also require additional resources, yeah? But now jumping to 7.0, less memory utilization, CPU utilization, but much better performance. Another thing is faster front end, yeah? What it means? It means that, especially if you're running the larger environment, for super administrators, Zabbix front end is very responsive. For normal users, sometimes it's not responsive. Why? Because for normal users, we also have to verify user permissions, and user permissions is quite heavy check. We need to check that if this host is, if this user have enough permissions to see this host details or item details or trigger details. Yeah, it's heavy process. But we managed to optimize this process internally. We're using kind of pre-calculated permissions in Zabbix. And now Zabbix delivers actually a very, very similar level of performance for normal users and super administrators. So you won't see much difference between normal users and super administrators. The front end is super responsive. What else? In-memory data collection, it's somehow related also to the proxy I demonstrated to you, yeah? So we have implemented in-memory data collection for proxies, and it basically means that proxy you may configure proxy so that it will keep data in memory and pass it immediately to Zabbix server. It won't keep it in a local database. And there are actually, and actually what it means less I/O operations. If you're running proxy in the cloud, we pay less for cloud resources, for AO input-output capabilities of the cloud. It also allows us to run proxies on a very cheap and affordable hardware like this Raspberry Pi type of hardware. So, and actually there are three modes. Disk mode, this is how it worked before. Memory mode, basically we keep data in memory. If we have a power loss, you lose your data, yeah? Not power loss, but for example, the power loss. Or maybe you're running out of the buffer, out of the memory buffer. But in a hybrid mode, is the best of both worlds. Disk mode and in memory mode, we still keep data in memory. We are doing all our best to keep most of the data in memory. But in case of the shutdown, or graceful shutdown, we sync memory data, we write it to the database. So no data is lost. And if we are running out of memory buffer, we also keep data in the database, so nothing is lost. Good thing, especially for cloud users, regardless, it is Zabbix Cloud or you're running Zabbix somewhere in AWS, for example, is a centralized management of item timeouts. Yeah. So it means basically that now you define timeouts. You may define timeouts on a global level. You can override them on a proxy level, and then you can override it on a very granular item level. So now we introduce timeouts on an item level. Because sometimes, of course, we know that some checks are very quick, but some checks may take even minutes. If we are collecting data, for example, from cloud APIs, we may retrieve, megabytes of JSON data, for example, and it takes time. So now we can very granularly define what timeout is needed for a specific check. And the good thing, we don't need to deal with the configuration files anymore. It's all done through Zabbix UI or Zabbix API. And zero downtime of proxy. Why it's important now? Yeah, because again, if you run Zabbix in the cloud, and cloud is running the very latest version of Zabbix, you will still collect, you will still get data, continue getting data with the proxies running an older version of Zabbix. Yeah? So we maintain a backward compatibility within one major release between a new version of Zabbix and the older version of Zabbix. So the data collection will still happen between the proxies, and the communication will still happen between proxies and the servers. So it really gives us much more time to upgrade all our proxies. We don't need to upgrade everything immediately. We can do it in a day or in a week time. Yeah, so that's how it works. And then in the UI, you see clearly that, okay, your proxy version is outdated, only data collection is available. 7.0 introduced a new API call called the history push. You know that if you want to push data to Zabbix, you can use Zabbix Sender command line utility. We all used to use Zabbix Sender command line utility. But now another alternative, and maybe a better alternative, is to use a history push API call. So this way we can use command line utilities like curl, curl, or maybe we can integrate those HTTP sending of data into our applications. Yeah, it's kind of more standard way. So we send data over HTTP, not over Zabbix protocol. I think this is the main difference. 7.0 also comes with advanced DNS monitoring. And DNS is really at the core of everything. Yeah? DNS is down. It probably means that most of our services are not available or not reachable. And DNS is important not only from availability point of view, but also from a security point of view. And now we introduced a very complete monitoring of the DNS services. So we can check availability, we may check performance, we may check content, we may check basically everything, all possible details of the DNS. And another thing, and I know there will be a talk, a special talk about this Zabbix utils Python library, but very quickly. So now we support officially Zabbix utils. This is a Python library which allows us to communicate with Zabbix API in a very, very simple way. Yeah, just a few lines of code, Python code, and we can do something very useful. So in this case, we are retrieving number of users. Yeah, so just a few lines of code and very understandable. Yeah, even if we are not programmers, but we can actually grasp and see, okay, what is happening here, especially if there are some nice comments. So, but anyway, yeah, it's very good. Yeah, so for those who are still running version 6 or previous versions of 6, I really encourage you to consider to move to 7.0. It really introduced so many new features and improvements. And you go to the download, you install the packages or containers, and yeah, you do upgrade to 7.0. Of course, you have to verify that the version of your database is still supported, the version of your operating system is still supported. So maybe you also need to upgrade your operating system, especially if you're moving from Zabbix 5 or from older releases of Zabbix. And now I'd like to tell you quickly about 7.2. This is a version of Zabbix we are working right now. And please don't expect evolution. So we don't want a revolution. So we don't want to make a revolution with Zabbix 7.2. But instead, I think we're now doing some multiple changes that would really bring much better user experience to Zabbix. So, yeah, there will be many changes related to visualization, many improvements. We are introducing top items widgets. Now we have top host widget. Now top items widget is coming. Great improvement. Top host widgets will be improved. Okay, logarithmic access. Yeah, it's, I don't know how many votes here for this for this change. I don't know. It's like hundreds maybe. Yeah. Users would be able to manage own media types. Also very nice one from user perspective. Yeah. And dashboard, what you see is what you get type of editing. So basically, what does it mean? You change, okay, you reconfigure your widget configuration and you see immediately how it affects your dashboard. All right? So these changes will be applied immediately. So it's not like now, okay, you do some configuration changes on your widget, you press save, and then you realize, oh, it's not that what I wanted. And then you go back and edit your widget. No, you will see the changes in widgets straight away. What else? Yeah, there will be some macros, new web scenarios, many network map improvements, and that's what we promised long time ago. The support of Oracle is removed, yeah, finally. So at some point of time, I think 2 years ago, we announced that Zabbix will no longer support Oracle as a backend database, and the only reason is because we don't have many users of Zabbix. I'm pretty sure it's much less than 1% of users running Zabbix on Oracle. But from a development point of view, it really adds so much overhead to our team. So we made this difficult decision, and we decided, okay, we are not going to support Oracle. So now you may use MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, TimescaleDB, but no Oracle anymore. So yeah, what you can do now, if you're an Oracle user, you should probably migrate to MySQL, because MySQL is an Oracle product. You'll get maybe you may get the same support from Oracle, for example, or you may migrate to MariaDB or Postgres or TimescaleDB. Yeah, and this is a work in progress, actually. This is what I told you, but also we have a lot in R&D state. Again, event correlation, runtime context cache. It's about having some sort of key value storage inside Zabbix. Yeah, so we can share some state between different checks, for example. Yeah, this is very important part of functionality. Allows for SMTP, JS macros API, and GPU monitoring. GPU monitoring. I think nowadays when, well, many companies are pretty much into AI, we want to deliver those capabilities to monitor basically utilization of your GPU devices, and this is just some improvements of the dashboarding. This is how host card may look in a new dashboard, and this is how these Sparkline charts will look in 7.2. Yeah, but anyway, what's important? We are preparing in 7.2, we are also preparing our code base. We are doing some internal changes, kind of refactoring work for bigger changes. We also would like to normalize release schedule after 7.0, yeah, because our promise is that we are having one major release every 6 months. In reality, it didn't work this way all the time. Yeah, you know that Zabbix 7.0 was delayed and some previous releases were delayed for like 6 months, but we really want to stick to 6 month release cycle, and because of this, we are really looking forward to release Zabbix 7.2 by the end of this year. Somewhere, I really hope somewhere at the end of November, most likely. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.